If you're online live, we appreciate you VIPs on the Surge platform. If you're listening and you're not knowing about who Surge is, this is a good one, real good one. We have multiple episodes too that are recorded, so please check those out. Whoever invited you. Is it August already? That's what I want to know. Jeez. I still remember, back in the 70s watching the clock tick in like second or third grade, waiting for 3:15 to hit. It's so slow. Now I'm 53 and I'm like, what? It's August? Wow. It's the theory of relativity, right? Okay, good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good. Well, let's jump in. Welcome everybody to our weekly Surge cast. Allie's on special assignment last week. We did a master class. This week we're going to do another class, this time featuring Jordan Torres, the VP of Sales for EcoSmart Finance. I heard that he's a pretty good tennis player too, and an award-winning leader in the renewable energy and green tech sector. To start, of course, we want to talk about our vision and mission. I'm not going to share slides for this, but basically, why Surge? We are making clean energy the new normal. The new normal. You remember back when nobody had a cell phone? And now, my youngest kid came over, bought him an iPhone 14. It's like, why don't you have a cell phone? Right? Remember back in the day? Just remember back in the day. I don't know what generation you're on, but like, how come they have this and I don't? So many more people are saying, how do you power your life? Why doesn't that house have solar? Why doesn't that parking lot have a carport with EV chargers? Right? What are you doing? So we're making clean energy the new normal. We're also a conduit for commercial, industrial, and community scale renewable energy projects. A conduit. Why a conduit? What is the meaning of conduit? It's a connector. It makes things work better, makes things work faster, right? So one of our goals is to drive quality and speed. I know having sold commercial solar for 20 years that it takes forever if it's just one person working with one EPC or MVP, as we like to call them, installer, versus the ability to say, hey, what's your thought process about this? Last week, Bradley Brachet put a $24,000 a month laundromat bill on the platform. Now, I happen to have done a laundromat before, one that was making more than $90,000 a month in San Diego, but their bill was $60,000. Whoa, right? What's the new normal for laundromats, right? So that conduit will allow folks that are on here to say, wow, I'm going to watch this deal. I'm going to learn from it. I happen to want to sell some laundromats. Here's my case study. If I'm an MVP, installer, EPC, I'll go, whoa, geez, maybe I haven't done laundromats. Maybe I should, right? We connect organizations to vetted installers nationwide. We have the ability to take the folks that are the best of the best in their industry, folks like our top two installers right now who are basically Luminous, that's Greg, and of course Jonathan, that's Sun Renew Solar, and we get to amplify their reach to the folks that maybe have never heard about them and probably need their help the most, right? That's our vision and mission here. The brain of our business is the platform. Everybody's got the same platform, right? Everybody's got the same subscription. Everybody can see the same things at the subscription level that you're on. But the heart and the hands of the business are us, and especially to this VIP team that's helping form the early stages of this platform, right? So thank you to all of you for joining, especially our VIPs. If you're thinking about joining, get with the person who sponsored with you and ask them some questions after today. But this stuff isn't free, right, Jordan?
Something like that.
No, you got to do something with it. I mean, you got to fund it somehow, and that's what Jordan's going to do the master class on today. Jordan, would you tell us a little bit about you, who you are, a couple tidbits, your timeline, your origin story?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Jordan Torres, and thank you very much for the warm intro there, Emmett. I am the VP of Sales here at EcoSmart Finance. I've been in the solar industry almost since graduating college. I mean, I got in pretty early. I've worked with some of the biggest in the nation, SunPro, Sunrun, Tesla, just to name a couple. And most recently, before my time at EcoSmart, I actually worked at Mosaic, who is, for those of you familiar, is also a finance company, but specifically on the residential side. So a lot of industry history. I may be young, but I've been in the industry for a while and I just love it so much. There's so many good people in the industry, and I mean, who can't get behind this cause, right? We're out there helping people. How many of us, in previous lives and previous careers got to sell something that genuinely helped people, right? So it's been incredibly rewarding and fulfilling.
That's
Um,
that's terrific. I think we know the same people. And if you're new to the solar industry, it's not like you're in, I won't name the other industries, like, oh, geez, you're in that industry. It's like, oh, yeah, I know a guy there. I know a
yeah,
gal there. It's, oh, yeah. I mean, it happened to be Jordan and I, have the same connection at Mosaic that
yeah,
goes back for me 15, 16 years, right? And here
yep,
we are working together again. That's great.
absolutely.
Awesome. Tell me about your favorite tennis player. I heard you're a tennis player.
Yeah, my favorite is
How good
Rafa.
are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm a 5-0. I was a US
Wow.
I was,
Still?
yeah, yeah, still a 5-0, barely, not as much of a dominant 5-0 as I used to be, but still a 5-0. Uh,
Hey,
yeah, favorite by far is Rafa Nadal. Enjoyed watching him at the Olympics,
he's
and
great.
yeah, it's
I
been
love his
great.
warm up. He's good. I
Yeah,
love his warm up. I love his getting better.
yeah,
He's great. He's
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
If you
Well,
want to challenge Jordan to a tennis match, drop a one in the chat and he
bring it
will set
on.
that up. You're based in Texas?
Colorado. I used to be in
Colorado now. Okay, you were in
Colorado
Texas.
now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other tidbits you want to share?
On me personally, no, this is the most I've
Okay.
talked about
Maybe a
myself.
couple learnings on the solar side, maybe one or two learnings, one or two pieces of advice, and then we're going to dig into EcoSmart.
Yeah, I think the first and foremost for anyone in this group, whether you're first starting out or whether you've been a veteran in this space for decades, I think the biggest thing is just to always remind yourself the why. Why is it that you get up out of bed every day? Why is it that you go and chase down these leads and go and collect all the steps and chase everything down, right? Obviously, we're being compensated, no doubt. But the real why for me is knowing that I'm making an impact, both for the environment and for the individual that I'm helping go solar. And then beyond that, one step further, I always make sure that every single thing that I do in my day is with the customer in mind. When I was selling solar, I always made sure that they were in the loop, even if that meant that I apologized. Hey, it's me again. I'm sorry to keep bugging you. Just wanted to fill you in again. Just constant outreach is really how you build the connections, which ultimately lead to referrals and more business. And that is the real
Yeah,
king.
I love
So
that.
just always take care of your customers and they'll take care of you in return.
Let's peel away the why for a second. I've been in three industries. I've been in the tech industry, so I worked for Gateway and Dell.
Yeah.
And it was super cool that we could use technology to equalize the playing field across the US and the world. The second industry I was in is telecom. Look at your cell phone right now. It probably was a 30, 40% adoption when I started in that industry. And third is now renewable energy. The why for telecom was staying in touch, feeling safe, connected, right? Making it convenient and efficient. The why in energy is, and I have three grandkids. It's like, what does grandpa do? He makes sure that the lights turn on when you flip the switch. That's pretty cool. You
That
know,
is,
I'm not a superhero. I'm not fighting crimes, pressing evil, but I'm doing something, right? That's so cool. I'm glad you brought that up. Good. Tell us a little bit about the origin story of EcoSmart and give us
yeah.
like the vision of what you see this company growing into.
Yeah, two very big questions there. So the first, I would say, kind of our overall how we came about. It's pretty simple. I mean, we had a bunch of brilliant business men really put their heads together, and then I came on board right around the same time, and we actually started in residential, which is, as anyone on this call knows, starting in residential in 2021 was a rough time to try and start a solar company. So we dabbled in residential, but what I noticed was how underutilized and underserviced the commercial side of the industry was. In residential, you have,
Mm.
and again, I apologize if this is unfamiliar to anyone, but anyone familiar with solar knows that on the resi side, you have Mosaic, Goodleap, Sunlight, Dividend. You have massive finance companies that help provide some white glove service and make the selling easier, right? Well, we noticed that wasn't taking place in the commercial side. There was really just one player. We gathered a bunch of feedback on that company and where EPCs were really having trouble and really could use some assistance. And we built a company around it. We literally built our company around the feedback from the industry. And by doing it that way and not saying we know best, let us build this company the way we think it needs to run and ignore everyone, we did the total opposite. We gathered all that feedback and built a company around it, and it's been unbelievable for us so far. And as far as the growth potential, we have some very, very large strategic partnerships that have fallen into place for us that is going to take our company from probably $100 million in revenue a year to well over 400 million in about 12 months. So we're incredibly excited for that. And then, partnerships like this, working with people just like you guys, people that are out there in the trenches, looking out for the customer's best interest and really helping drive the industry forward in an ethical way. You guys are the exact kind of company I want to work with. And I'm not basing that on what we've discussed today. I've talked with him a few times before this, so don't worry. I'm not jumping the gun on my judgments of you guys. And it's been great. I've
Yeah.
met Ali as
There's-
well. And, you guys have an amazing team here, and I'm so
Thank
excited to
you.
work with
I
you.
appreciate that you're innovating from the customer perspective. I appreciate that you've studied the one or two major players in this space and said, okay, what are they doing right? But what's missing? Because the customers will tell you what's missing, right? If
Exactly.
you have a deck, you can share it now. It'd be nice to take folks through. Otherwise, you can go through the punchlines. It's up to you, sir.
Yeah, so I do have a deck that we can use. We can keep going through some of the questions, and as we hit those
Okay,
spots,
let me know when you want to pull that up.
yeah,
So,
you got it.
so what are you seeing in trends around financing commercial projects versus self-funding or other things like a PACE program and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. So the trends, obviously, finance is always going to be a strong play, just based on what we're talking about, right? We're talking about projects that aren't 30 and $40,000. We're talking significant investments from any company, millions of dollars in projects, even a $500,000 project. So finance is always going to be around, and it's going to be a key tool for all of you on this call and the industry. However, some of the recent trends that we're seeing is a lot of focus has gone away. We're seeing an actual pretty significant swing back towards financing as a lot of people have really been energized by the announcement that, industry wide rates are going to be coming down in September. And so we're starting to see a swing back to financing. Cash purchasers are coming back. And even those customers that say, "Oh, I can get better rates through my bank," and we never push back on that. They're
Mm,
starting to
let's
come
slow
back.
down for a second there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, in my experience, there's a couple ways to finance a project, and we did a mastermind on this. So the current trend is, what is it? I'm not going to self-finance now that interest rates are coming down. Is that what you're seeing?
No, it's actually switching to the
The other
opposite.
way.
Where we saw a lot of cash buyers there for a little while when everyone
Mhm.
was uncertain with rates. Business owners didn't want to jump in and sign a 14.99 APR or anything crazy. So rates have, as the announcement has come out that rates are going to come back down, we're seeing a dramatic shift back. Volume has picked up tremendously over just the past few days. And that's industry wide based on what we're hearing.
Got it. And one of the things you'll learn if you haven't already, I don't mean to preach to the choir here, is that it's a solar coaster. Being nimble, and this is one of the great things about the platform, is super important. Because a couple of years ago, we were selling what, 0.99% interest rates, right? And now we're kind of getting through that wave of the high interest rates, high dealer fees, and seeing a change. So having the ability to work with different partners, having the ability to pivot, right, is so important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Um,
So
you
what
know,
makes your
right.
offering different. There's a couple features now you talked to me and Allie about.
Yeah.
You want to get to that now, or you want to save
Yeah.
that for later?
Let's jump on in. Let's unwrap the present together. I mean,
Okay.
we really do some amazing things here at EcoSmart. Again, our entire process and products are built around what was missing. Remember that and keep that in mind. So we offer commercial financing, of course, first and foremost. One of the key differences between us and our competitors can be found in just that, and just the basic financing. We do not approve based on an individual's credit score. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. We do not approve based on credit score. And it's our understanding that our competitors are very firm at a 700 minimum FICO. And that just leaves too much meat on the bone. There's too many customers being underserviced. So the way we approve is we actually look at the company's financials. So let's say it's a hotel. We'll gather P&Ls, balance sheets, tax returns for that hotel. We'll review it, and we'll base a lending decision off that because quite simply, they can pay an electric bill every single month. They can pay a $5,000 electric bill. I'm pretty confident. And so are our banking partners. They can pay a $2,000 solar payment. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy math. So
Wow.
that's how we
Pump
base
the
our,
brakes, pump the brakes. So
yeah,
we kind of previewed this last week on my mastermind. Allie's been dropping dimes. In fact, Allie's done a couple deals with you, is what I've seen in the pipeline,
yes, yes.
right? So we got the proof of concept and proof in the pudding, if you will. So the approach of DTI and FICO versus your balance sheet says you've paid your electric bills very astutely and on time means that
Yep.
you're probably going to pay us because you want and need that electricity, right? Is that the concept?
Exactly. That's exactly the concept in it.
Wow.
And
Well,
again,
geez.
this is one of those, it felt like we were just given a golden opportunity, and it's why we were tripping over ourselves to get this company off the ground. We just couldn't believe that no one had taken that approach yet. It just seems to
Oh,
us
I
like,
see. I see. So it wasn't one of those things where you'd seen it before. It was one of
correct,
those things that nobody solved it for that way before. What do
correct.
you think that is? I don't want to get you into too much industry trouble, but what
Risk.
do you think
I
that
think
is?
it's risk. It's sometimes you, when working with a vendor of any capacity, for us, our vendors are banks, right? We work with Chase, Capital One, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I mean, you name it, right? We work with all
Yeah.
of them. And when you work with a bank, they love to tell you how it's going to be. This is how much you're going to pay. This is what the rates are. These are the terms. And I think a lot in the industry in solar have taken those kind of partnerships and just taken it as black and white and said, well, that's
Mhm.
just how it's got to be. We have to have a minimum FICO. Whereas we took a different approach. We went to the banks and said, hey, that doesn't really make sense. Look at all of these companies
Mm.
that wouldn't qualify. Let's try our approach. And we gave them a whole pitch, and we went and visited all the banks in North Carolina at their headquarters. And we sat down and negotiated with them and showed them our approach and how it's still risk adverse. And they loved it, and they bought into it. And we have some very strong partnerships because of it. But to answer your question, I think no one else did it that way simply because of risk factors coming from the banks,
Sure.
and no one else wanted to stand up
Well,
to it.
great for pioneering it. I'm sure that just
Exactly.
like Colonel Sanders took 1,009 times to get his chicken to be bought by the first franchise at a very ripe age, there have been
Exactly.
people that pitched what you pitched before, and we appreciate you being courageous and persistent on that front. So that was the first thing that I remember. The second thing was super cool too. There's another feature, maybe I'm missing it. There might be a few more. What else is cool about what you do? Different,
So,
unique.
so the finance, again, the approvals is the biggest difference there, and then our rates as well. So I know money talks, right? We can talk about all the great things that we offer, but at the end of the day, I know money talks for you guys as well. We have the lowest fees by a significant margin in the industry. Our
Nice.
nearest competitor to us starts at 13% of a dealer fee, and that's on their SPA program, and it goes into the 20s. We are 8 to 10, and that's it.
Oh, 8 to 10.
8 to 10. No
8 to 10.
20s, no double digit
Drop a
craziness.
3 in the chat if you like that. 8 to 10.
Eight
Jeez.
to 10. And that's
Ooh.
on millions of dollars, guys. That's on the smallest of projects that are a couple hundred grand. We
Hmm.
don't differentiate. It's 8 to 10%. And you're probably thinking, well, what's the difference in an 8 versus a 10? And there's a variety of things there. We're obviously going to put you guys on a special program with how excited we are for you to work with Serge and Emmett and Allie and all of you amazing people. So excited for that. So you guys will be on a special program to help simplify and streamline that. But just know for now, it's anywhere from 8 to 10%. And
Nice.
then
Go ahead.
moving into some of the services now and some of the bells and whistles, we also offer REAP grant writing
Whoa,
in-house.
wait a second. You saved that for second or third? Wow.
Yeah,
Tell us about why that's so cool. Why
that's
that's so
pretty
different.
that's pretty amazing. I've heard the phrase, and while I dislike the phrase, it is all too true in this case. And Emmett knows you have to spend money to earn money. And in the REAP grant, that is so true. If you have a customer, let's say any one of you have a customer that's interested, they're REAP eligible, and you're so excited about that REAP grant, you're thinking, heck yeah, this is going to be the easiest sale of my life. Well, through traditional methods, you are going to have to come out of pocket and pay a REAP grant writer up front to do all that work. You have to hope it's a good REAP grant writer that does it right, because if they do it wrong, it could set you back possibly 6, even as far out as maybe even 10 months to have to redo the REAP grant. It can really cause some headaches in your deal that you were thinking is a slam dunk. We know some EPCs out there try and dabble in it and work on it as well. A lot of those EPCs are coming to us and saying, "Help us, we are drowning.
Got it.
This is too chaotic."
That's
So
huge. That's huge. And
we,
for people that
yeah,
don't
go
know
ahead.
what that is, can you please define the USDA REAP grant?
Absolutely. So the REAP grant is, just like Emmett said, from the USDA. It was part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It is a grant. It is not a loan. It is not a anything that has to do with your taxes, like a tax credit. It is a firm grant on a per project basis that can pay up to 50% of the project outright. Period. 50% of the project being paid for by the government for your customers. This is massive. And a lot of our EPC partners are solely focusing on REAP eligible projects. They're going out and chasing REAP eligible customers because it's so much easier of a sale, right? Simple math. Now, to get the REAP grant, it is a pretty tough process, like I've alluded to. There's a lot of red tape that you have to go through, naturally so, right? When working with the government, A, but also B, we're talking significant amounts of money being handed out. So the government is naturally thorough. So we take all of the steps for you. We hold your customer's hand through the whole process. We set them up on the sam.gov website, which is required. We help. I mean, guys, if you haven't been through this process, you would laugh at some of the chaos that is involved. If it's on Indian land, they have to go out and do a manual survey. If it's a ground mount system, they have to do a soil sample through a third party. I mean, it's ridiculous. But thankfully, we handle all of that for you and for your customers. So we make that process very, very easy.
It's huge innovation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So far, rewinding,
Yeah.
instead of relying on yourself or paying a REAP grant writer, you can lean on and leverage the opportunity with this partner
Yes.
instead of dealing with dealer fees that are double of what he's announced. You can work with folks that understand that by using the underwriting criteria of the P&L, the balance sheet versus DTI and FICO can change your go-to-market approach, will help us drive more adoption of commercial solar. One addition I'll make, and feel free to push back if you want, Jordan. Grants expire. So if you're sitting there going, oh, I'm going to get to this. Okay, but if you do, they might be gone, right? Because you don't have to repay grants.
Exactly. You're 100%
So
correct.
we encourage you to think about your plan, whether you're on this platform or not. We encourage you to think about your contacts, right? And decide how you want to interact. Great. So do you have any other bells and whistles? I heard something about how you deal with the ITC, things like that, or
Don't get ahead of me now. Don't get ahead. I
oh, you
gotta
want to say it? I'm
that
sorry.
one.
Keep going, keep
No,
going.
no, no, no. It's good. It's good. Last thing on the REAP grant, I will say, guys, Emmett is 100% correct. This is likely going to be a limited time offering from the USDA. This is an election year. This is tied in with politics. This could end up getting axed. This could end up getting extended and grown. But right now, really is the time to go out and chase down this business, because what you don't want to do is 6 months from now, say it expires, and you're going to be kicking yourself thinking, holy cow, how many deals did I leave on the table with this? So again, we handle all of it. We hold your customer's hand through it all. You won't even have to lift a finger. I think the coolest part of it all is we've built our process in a way that the same documents we use for underwriting is what we use to file for the REAP grant. So that's less of us going to your customers and bothering them for additional documents, right? It's the same set of documents for underwriting as it is for the REAP grant. So it's a pretty smooth and seamless.
And the customer is dealing with whom? Is it a platform
So,
yet? Is it a person? How does that work?
so it's all through person. We are very, very big advocates for personal touch. We want them to know our names. We want them to see our face. We want them to know our dogs' names. We are very hands-on. Your customers will likely be speaking to me. Many of your customers will be speaking to me directly. Many of your customers will speak to my team. But at no point will they be talking to someone overseas or an AI or anything like that. They're going to be speaking to someone on our core team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Folks, if you have questions, we're going to get to the end of this in about 5-10 minutes. This section, and I'm going to do open office hours, which won't be recorded, but put them in the chat. And Jordan, you got a couple more things, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And Don, I just saw your question come through. I promise I'll answer it in due time. The next thing I want to talk about is our last and kind of the bow on top of everything. How many times have you guys tried to sell a deal in resi or commercial and been told, well, let me talk to my CPA about the tax credit. I want to make sure I get that tax credit. Or they come back and say, well, my CPA said we're not going to be able to get the full tax credit for another 3 years, or we don't have enough tax liability. We take that objection off the table completely. We actually we offer to purchase. So if you have a customer that does have the tax liability, they're good to go. But we can purchase the tax credits from your customer. And just like the REAP grant, we take that and roll it right into the financed amount, getting your customer an incredibly low monthly payment. So we do all of this, guys. We purchase the tax credit. We do the REAP grant. This is all handled and locked in before your customer even picks up a pen to sign the loan docs. So they know exactly what is taking place. They're not having to sign a loan doc and then hope that we buy the ITCs or hope that we get the REAP award from the government. We do all of that ahead of time, present it to the customer in one nice, pretty package and say, here you go. And now the customer is protected, right? Now they're not signing up for a loan and they don't even know what's being paid off. So all of these services are rolled straight into the customer's principal balance. And that, for you guys, makes it a much easier sell, or for your closers, a much easier sell.
Yeah, because in the past, right, it would be, we might be able to get you the USDA REAP grant. We might be able to advance this incentive. Your process is, we've already got you, right, covered, and this is what you can count on, right?
Correct.
So that's the difference.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
for the veterans that have done this, that is a big deal. And if you didn't get it today, that's cool. Took me a while because Jordan had to train me on it too. And Alan, that's all right. Before we go to questions, what else, sir?
I think we have gone through pretty comprehensively over all the things that we offer. And guys, we're always improving. We're still growing, just like the whole industry is. And I can promise you there's going to be a lot more bells and whistles that come down the line. But for right now, we'll finance your projects. We'll take care of your customers and get you high approval rates with low dealer fees. We'll file the REAP grants for your customers, and we'll purchase the ITCs if your customer chooses.
So if I'm a developer, which a lot of people are on this call, but we don't know about the recording, it's about 80% of our population right now on the platform. How do we engage with you? And then the other 20%, if I'm an installer, EPC, or MVP, how do I engage with you? How would you suggest people start working with you either on or off the Surge platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a person. I am available. My cell phone is right here. This thing lives with me. Okay. We talked about cell phones earlier. Unfortunately, I'm addicted to this dang thing. So you
What's the
guys,
model? Are you not going to
yeah,
push it? Don't do
yeah,
that.
you guys can text me, call me, email me anytime. I do have a family, so if it's after hours, I'm probably hanging out with them, but I promise you, I will respond within business hours or as quickly as I can. It's something I credit myself on and I've kind of built my reputation on. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I'm happy to provide. Give me 2 seconds here and I'll drop my contact info here in this little side chat. So I'm going to just put my
Great.
name
Drop it in
first.
there. Let's hit questions. And as you hit the questions in the chat, um, I'm going to unmute you if you want to talk. So what's the first one we're going to take here? We got Don Thomas Nestor, right?
I believe so. Two
I'm going to
seconds.
unmute. You
Here
can
we go.
unmute yourself, Don. That'd be great. If I have to do it, let me know.
No, you're good. I think
Okay.
you answered the question
Okay.
on the as I had just put that in there. Your second part of the ending there answered the majority of that question. One of the things a little bit more specifically, if they're looking to, let's say, add EV chargers, energy management, decarbonization models, you'll go back in, help us maybe refinance their current solar or reconstruction project, and where they're typically going after typical construction financing, which is limited and very hard and very minor, where this will have a much greater impact and be like an 80% higher amount of dollars that they get to use. That's right. We're on the same page. Well, that's
Correct.
great. You answered my question there. And then do you have collateral that we can utilize in our website and for our customer base that we're able to market?
Very excellent question, nonetheless, even though it was answered done. Excellent question. And as far as collateral goes, absolutely. Following this call, I will send Emmett. We have a little email thread going. I'll send Emmett some of our collateral that he can turn around and get out to you guys. If that's okay. Awesome.
Great
Thanks.
job.
Thank you.
That's all I
Awesome.
had.
Next question. What do you want to take? You got Mitchell up with a hand. So you can unmute Mitchell. You're up.
Hey, how you doing? So I missed a good part of this because I couldn't get online here, but I'm familiar with the USDA grant to some degree. It sounds like you have enhancements as um compared to what other people, because there are other people that also get the grants, but it seems that you get it sooner and it can start to work sooner, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Also, it occurs that you let's say you do the upfront research, you make sure that they're going to be eligible, then you put the package together and you get them the grant.
Yep.
The,
What's the question, Mitchell?
this is there a way that I could get the recording? How can I get the recording? Because I
Yes,
don't want to ask
you'll
you
get
to
a copy
repeat
of the recording from Serge Mitchell. Good to hear you from you again, by the way. It's in
Yeah.
your newsletter
Um.
every Friday from Allie. So you can backtrack
Okay.
and we'll get you the punchlines. And you've already got in the text the contact information for Mr. Jordan Torres. So you can talk to him directly. So thank you.
Yeah.
Just
Mitchell.
one other
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. 2 for 1.
one other very quick question. Do you guys cover lighting and HVAC upgrades for
We do.
apartment complexes? Is
Yeah,
that
I knew we were going to ask that question, Mitch. Mitchell's huge in that space, huge.
Nice.
So yeah, why
Yeah,
don't you guys connect offline directly?
Mitchell,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Mitchell.
all right?
Good job, brother. Welcome. Good to hear from you again. It's been a while. James Patteris is up next.
Hey, hi everybody. Hey, Jordan, this is just what the doctor ordered because I like to lead and diffuse that right away at the beginning of my presentation because I know the companies I've been calling this week, they've been good about it, but the first thing that they see is the cash register, right, going up in the air and
Yep.
like, oh, what's the CEO going to say about this? So I like this because it diffused it. Two questions are with the REAP, the question has come up because we have a lot to qualify for REAP round here. The time factor,
Sure.
how
Sure.
long?
It's such a good question, and it's one that everyone is trying to get an answer from the USDA on. The one thing I can say, James, is that because we've packaged so many up to this point, we have so much experience with REAP grants, and we only have veterans in our REAP grant writing team. They know exactly how to package it, slide it over to the USDA, and we know exactly what they're looking for. So we eliminate some of the back and forth that happens so frequently with these projects and delays the project. So we get above and ahead of all of that. But to the greater part of your question, and for everyone on this call, because it's incredibly important to understand, just because, let's say we'll use June 30th, the end of Q2. That was the REAP cutoff for Q2 because REAP cutoff happens at the end of every quarter. We may have submitted that one back in April, but no one at the USDA is going to look at it until after the REAP cutoff for that cycle. So those projects, even though we submitted several in April, we likely won't have award letters back for another week or two. And then we'll start to see the rest trickle in. But again, in my experience, James, it's all about preparation and trying to get ahead of those problems and solve them before they really blow up.
And you know, Jordan, as courageous as he is asking you to connect with him directly. So if you say, I am targeting 100 churches across the US, so Amanda's up next, how would you approach it if you were me? Then he'll tell you what the playbook is. You're not going to get that on a podcast. That's too free. Right? Same with you, James, right? With all due respect. And of course, Mitchell and Don, you're in the same industry, energy management, energy efficiency, facility maintenance. So yeah, I mean, go to Jordan, book some time with him. I mean, I've known this guy indirectly through his body of work for several years, and he's pretty amazing. Amanda, listen, are you done, James?
Sorry. Yeah, Jordan, I had one other thing.
Yeah.
You guys always go for the 2-for-1.
Right.
After the VIP crew.
I like the way you clearly explain it too. I mean, you don't use terms that cause us to get glazed over. But the last thing is the Fed ITC. I've been studying that because I want to know it myself. It seemed to get nebulous with whoever is training on. I mean, like some have videos on it. You look on the internet, but it gets nebulous. Like in Prezi, you can say, 30%. But with this, it seems like it depends, right?
Yes. So with the ITC in the commercial space, you do have that base 30%. And much like in residential, it depends on your customer's tax liability on whether they're going to collect that or not and when they can collect it. But in commercial, some added benefits is there are additional 10% bonuses, if you will, or adders that you can get depending on project location. And I have another tool that I can share with everyone on this call. I'll drop in the chat here. But essentially, you can use this tool to see whether or not this project that you may have in mind, you're working on, whatever, will qualify for those additional adders. You have the 10% adder for domestic content, which is a bit of a tough one to get right now. All of the manufacturers are trying to get to that threshold, and there were some updated thresholds that came out yesterday, so we're hoping more come out. But that one's kind of out there for now. Set that one aside. Yep. The two biggest ones you're going to see, and if you use the website I just dropped in the chat, put your project locations in there.
Yep.
You see an additional 10% adder for an energy community, which is an energy efficient community. And then you have low income community as well. And those are 10% adders each. So you can get up to 50% if you get domestic content, 60% covered through the ITC.
That was one of the big issues, Jordan. Thanks. I got to get up with you later.
Yes, let's definitely catch up.
Let's let Amanda talk. Amanda, you had a question about churches?
Well, yeah, I just need to understand how your program work with churches, because I have a couple of churches that are looking, and the one lady that I'm talking to, they wanted the EV charger unit on their parking lot, and they wanted to do their roof, but she didn't know if they would have the money to do that part. So how would your program help them?
Yeah, definitely. So first and foremost, nonprofits like a church do not qualify for the REAP grant. So we will have to heavily utilize ITCs for them. However, there's a couple avenues we can go, and we'll talk more in depth, Amanda, one-on-one. But for everyone on this call, we absolutely can work with churches. Just give us a little bit of grace on the timeline. Takes us a little longer to underwrite because we have to go to church and demographic specific credit union. So,
Right.
and denomination specific. But Amanda, we can absolutely help you. And then we also have access to the self-help fund as well, which is over $7 billion for specialty projects that can't get financed. So we can definitely help you out.
Jordan, you can still close
Okay,
them.
thanks.
Every opportunity is a puzzle. Why try to figure it out when you have all these resources? I'm okay. Jordan's pretty good. Alice closed a few. You take a look at Jonathan. You take a look at Greg, our top EPCs. They're good. That's what this is all about. It's about connecting people, right? It's about being able to flex. If you haven't ever done a facility maintenance audit, or if you haven't talked about energy efficiency, talk to Mitchell, talk to Don, right? It's like baking a cake, forgetting the icing, right? You didn't marinate the steak before you grilled it. Oops. Right? That's so awesome. Jordan, for the folks, before we wrap it up, we got two more. We're going to skip over that. Sorry. We've got Jonah and Bill. Bill, did you have any other comments? Or Jonah? Bill, why don't you go first?
Yeah, really good information here. I know a lot of EPCs I've talked to can give me some of the information if I'm in, Virginia or North Carolina, or you're up in West Virginia. But that website I think is going to be huge. I've done a lot of my own researching, but I come up with some of it, but I may be missing stuff, so this is good to be able to know, okay, we can do for you, you can get your 30%, and then you can also get your expedited depreciation, right? Instead of taking over 5 years, you can take depreciation that first year if you have the tax liability,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
That kind of thing. Okay. So good stuff. And that's the stuff we have to have as ammunition to sell. We can go to somebody and say, hey, we can do this. And this $200,000 project, I can talk to you about 100,000 and even less, and really bring that cost down. If you're going to put up, loan them that money, it's not like, okay, I'm waiting on that, and I sure hope I get this tax credit, or sure hope I get this grant. If you're doing it, then we're taking that out of the equation. That's huge.
That's
It's
right.
really, really big to be able to do that. Because we're going into I hope so, a situation with people doesn't sell very well with a business or a church or anybody, so that's really big.
Great.
And that's why we end up with leases sometimes with homeowners, right? They're scared.
Sure. Absolutely.
Am I going to get that? I don't know. I guess, I hope so. So that's huge.
Bill Price on the pulpit. I love it. Well
And
said.
I did sign into Surge now, so that's good.
Welcome, dude.
I think it's something I can embrace
And you
here.
see
for
that
sure.
one nugget, whether it's Bill or whoever else has been on, can multiply into 100 nuggets. We have a couple thousand subscription goal here by the end of the year, which we're going to hit, right?
And the other one with the carports and the pergolas, stuff like that, is that stuff that can be financed?
Absolutely. Our banking partners, of course, like any banking partner, tries to mitigate risk. And part of that is price per watt evaluation. So anytime we get into carports and pergolas, it's naturally going to increase that price per watt. What we will do in that case, we will absolutely finance it. We will get an explanation together. We'll likely have the customer just sign a simple statement saying, I'm comfortable with this price. I'm excited for just a very simple explanation as to why the price per watt is so high. We submit that with the loan request, and it's not a problem.
Yeah. And do you have contacts for other EPCs to get them on this platform to have more bids for projects?
Oh man, Bill.
Bill.
That. I like Bill. Man, came out swinging. I'll have I haven't even told Emmett or Allie this. I talked to a certain EPC out of North Carolina who has been in negotiations with you guys, and I put in a very good word for you. So absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Bill, you got this, brother.
They just brought you guys up out of the blue in an intake call I had with them. They're like, have you ever heard of Surge? Funny enough, I have a call
No
with
way,
them
really?
Thursday.
Get outta
Yeah.
here.
Yes, I have.
I got Jonah up next. Jonah, you have anything?
I mean, really good information, coming from someone that's, just starting in his commercial, solar coming straight out of Resi. So it's all new to me and it's all very good information to have. And I feel like, you have a very easy way of explaining it. And,
Thanks, man.
I think all
Yeah,
this.
he's all right. He's all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonah, thank you. You still on vacation, dude?
Yeah, I am. I just got
Show
back.
us the back of your
Right back.
work area. You want to do that again? Come on, man. Wow, that
Oh,
looks like a tough
nice.
life.
There we go. Nice.
Yeah, I actually
That's
just
so
got
awesome.
my first commercial lead this morning.
Good. Congrats.
I'm going to expand on that.
And then I have Miss Denise David up. Denise, thank you, Jonah.
Yeah, just real quickly, on the nonprofit side, outside of churches, I've got two organizations here in Florida that I'm in communication with. In fact, I just got a year's worth of electric bills from one. That one is a homeless shelter that's run by the local Chamber of Commerce.
Wow.
And the other is it's aligned with a
Yeah.
church organization, but it's for women, kind of a halfway house situation with a retail space. Would they be entities that you could align with?
I'm going to answer this as straightforward as I can because I'm very passionate about things like this, Denise. I love this. Absolutely. And we at EcoSmart, you're going to learn this about working with us. We may tell you, yeah, this is what we like to work in, but we are not like the other partners you've ever worked with in solar. We are flexible. And if we see something like this that we want to help, we're going to find a freaking way to do it. So Denise, yes, let's talk offline more. We're going to make that happen.
I grabbed your contact. I'll follow up, Jordan. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's the thing that's super cool. Number one, the props are our pioneers because it's been basically a year in this formal launch, but I mean several years in alpha and beta mode for creating the playbook, right? And Denise, I mean, your why is so clear, your light is so bright, and you being able to go to somebody like Jordan who's open to that light and say, let's figure it out. I'm looking at Don right now. I'm looking at, Mitchell, and I'm like, get with this guy. This guy's open to figuring out playbook. And here's the cool thing about this model, commercial, at least what I've seen. You sell one casino, it's a domino. We keep talking about dominoes. I keep telling Allie, she's got to change like the whole Surge brand thing. It's got to be dominoes, right? Like you sell a dairy farm, bunch of dairy farms. You sell a homeless shelter. You sell a church. Sell whatever, right? That's your why. So props to everybody that's on the VIP team today. Props to you, Jordan, for believing in us. I know you already have a couple of deals that we're doing together, which is cool. And thank you for this open conversation. For anybody that's joining late, Jordan, what are you going to leave us in terms of like the 3 or 4 bullet points about what you bring to the table and what your company brings to the table?
Yeah, I'll beat all of you in tennis. Secondly, no, just kidding. Just kidding. Look, we're here to make your lives easier. The first and foremost, we built our company with that concept in mind. That is my goal every day when I get up. I've lived your life. I've been out there selling at kitchen tables. I know how hard it is. I want to protect your wins. Okay. So that's my first and foremost. Secondly, we help with REAP. Please don't get overwhelmed. Don't burden yourself. Let us help you with those. And then lastly, we look out for your customers. We take your customers from start to finish. We hold their hand every step of the way so that you can have those dominoes fall and build a referral network, because we know we are an extension of you in the customer's eyes. We know that.
Drop a 7 in the chat for this man. What great job you've done, sir. In the industry, and particularly on this call, that impact will be forever past this call. Well done, sir.
I appreciate
Okay, we're going to go to office hours, if you don't mind, Jordan. So we're good. If you have any other assets, drop them in chat.
Awesome.
We're going to give everybody about 10 minutes to hang out and just talk freely, if you don't mind.
Sounds good. I'll send you guys some
Okay.
follow-up information. Thank you all so much for your time today. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Open office hours. Let's go.
Emmett,
So,
oh, I'm sorry, because I gotta get off.
Go ahead,
Um,
Amanda.
go ahead.
Emmett, can I call you tomorrow so we can discuss some things?
Yeah,
Do
you
you?
know how to schedule me. That's
Yep.
fine. I
All
got you.
right. Thanks. I gotta go, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Next.
Emmett, I wanted to add one piece of news that no one may know about, but uh, our EV chargers just got the Energy Star certification now,
Good.
which allows them to be funded for a whole lot more other projects than what they were capable of previously. That's a huge win for us with that Department of Energy certification. Just wanted to pass that on.
That's good. That's good.
Don, do we
Any other
have
things?
your info?
Drop them in there
Yeah.
again, Don. I mean, the punchline is if you're talking to a commercial customer, in my humble opinion, the easiest way to get engaged is to say, have you done a facilities management audit? I'd like to do one for you. Cool. And then let the data, let Don and his team take over from there and use the data to determine how to sell a solution. You know, it's not like Resi where it's like, you know, one and done. Every commercial deal I've sold in my career has been a multi-phase project. How about we make sure your windows are better than they were before we got here? How about we automate your doors so that they're always opening and closing when only somebody's coming in? How about we make sure you know that your refrigerators are closed and they're at the right temperature at any time, et cetera, et cetera. Then with that data, we'll size a solar system, put some batteries in there, and maybe a whole house facility fan. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, you don't have LED lights? We'll take care of that tomorrow, right? That's the thing I would encourage folks to do. Now, if I'm talking down, I don't mean to do that to the professionals on this call, but that's how we approach typically the folks I've mentored commercial deals. And when you talk to the CFO or the facilities manager, when you talk to the board, they're like, well, geez, that's pretty comprehensive. And Bill, you
And
know
when it
this,
comes
that's your approach,
and,
and you too
and
as
when it
well.
comes to risk, uh, there is no risk because we'll provide that energy audit at no
Right.
charge and share the savings with whoever brought the deal and ourselves. Or B, they can pay $39.50. We put in an energy management piece. Give us 12 months. If it doesn't pay back itself to you, we'll give you the money back. Because for us, we just pull it out and put it into someone else who can benefit from it. I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
so it's a win-win situation for everybody. There's no risk to your end user.
If you haven't booked time with Don, if you haven't met Mitchell, any of the folks that do the EMS and the facility management stuff, I got to tell you, it's kind of like, you know, getting in the car and not walking around it and make sure you don't have a flat tire, right? I mean, I was taught that at 14. I know we got to kind of drive cars earlier in my day, but you got to walk around the facility before you put solar on it, right? So get with him, book some time with him. He's a great guy. All right, what else? Open office hours. We got another 5 minutes. Any other topics? Who's gonna help with that laundromat? That's what I want to know. Don, you should get in on that, man. The last one I did, man, it was crazy. 30% of the savings came from non-solar.
Actually, I did get on that. I knew Bradley previously,
Yeah,
and he was debating between Surge and Build.
yep.
And I
That's cool.
told him that he was crazy for not going to Surge at all and at least dropping in there instead of going around the individual pieces. Because there's some
Yep.
pieces to this that you're not able to tell me and you don't know, and I can't help you with. Then I know there are people better positioned to help you faster
Mhm.
if you get it in the Surge platform. So I
Nice.
said, try one. So he put out the laundry one, but I certainly also am looking at the Missouri feed store as well,
Good.
because that's in our backyard and we want
Well,
to
that's
be
a
the
really good
EPC.
point too.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna probably find that as you go through, there are people that already pitched before or after you. So that's one. Make yourself different. How do you make yourself different? You've got a toolkit right now. It's better than the next guy. The other way, and now you have finance toolkit, right? The other thing is everybody needs energy management. So you're now 50 states strong. So if anybody says, anybody you know has a business, you got to connect them to Don or to Mitchell, right? Because that stuff, number one, is free. And number two, you can never lose. Right? Awesome. We'll take one more and call it a day.
Who is Mitchell? Is that partner with you,
Mitchell
Don?
popped on for a while. He has a lighting company and also does energy efficiency. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
cool. There's a community here, so you'll see him if you log on to Surge. And Bill, welcome officially. So thank you.
Thanks.
And you adopt mentor wherever he invited you, or you can get with me directly. We'll walk you through it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody have a blessed day. Go Team USA in the Olympics. Let's go. Take care, everybody. Bye.